All right, I want you to do something. Picture a millionaire. Seriously, right now. What pops into your head? Is it some slick suit? A sports car that costs more than a house? Maybe someone sipping champagne on a yacht? Get that image locked in your mind because we're about to absolutely smash it to pieces.
Welcome to Unspoken Rules. This is the place where we pull back the curtain on all the hidden scripts that quietly run our lives. And today, we are diving deep into one of the biggest unspoken topics there is, getting rich. I mean, we're told so many different things, right? Save every single penny. No, risk it all on a business. Invest in stocks. Buy real estate. It feels like everyone's got a tiny piece of the map, but nobody has the whole thing. Well, today, we are putting those pieces together.
And this is exactly where all the confusion starts. It's the pressure. This quote actually comes from a Reddit thread about a brand new lawyer. Her colleagues were like horrified that she was driving an old college mobile. They straight up told her it was embarrassing to the firm. See, that's the trap, isn't it? It's this intense pressure to look rich long before you actually are rich. It's a game that is totally designed to keep you spending, not saving. So what if the very first unspoken rule is that the people who are actually winning don't even play that game at all? Let's find out.
Okay, so let's start by unmasking this person we're all supposedly trying to become. Because all the research shows that the typical millionaire, they're not who you see on Instagram, not even close. In fact, they're probably hiding in plain sight, disguised as your quiet neighbor.
Now, you know what's so fascinating about this slide? It's how boring it is. And I mean that in the best way possible. This profile, based on the legendary book, The Millionaire Next Door, is the complete opposite of that image we just cooked up in our heads. The average millionaire is a 57-year-old, self-employed business owner. Get this, 2/3 of them work 45 to 55 hours a week. They live in the same house for decades. They're not flipping mansions, they're building real, steady equity. They invest a massive 20% of their income every single year. And my favorite part, they probably never spent more than $400 on a suit. They value financial freedom way more than social status.
And this just perfectly illustrates that disconnect, doesn't it? We expect the flashy BMW, the sprawling house, the designer labels, but the reality for most millionaires is a lot closer to a Ford Focus, a comfortable but pretty modest neighborhood and a deep-seated habit of frugality. You know, like one person commented on that same Reddit thread. When his boss questioned his Ford Focus, he just called it his commutabobile and laughed it off. He wasn't playing the status game, he was playing the wealth game. So it seems like the first rule is pretty simple. Be disciplined, be frugal, invest for the long haul. Case closed, right? Well, not so fast.
Because what if that entire Millionaire Next Door strategy, as solid as it is just one way to play the game? What if it's the slow, scenic route when a superhighway exists right next to it? This is where our story takes a really sharp turn into a completely different and kind of controversial philosophy. So this is the core idea from MJ DeMarco's book, The Millionaire Fastlane. And he argues there are really only two roadmaps. The slow lane is what we're all taught in school. Get a good job, trade your precious time for a paycheck, save 10%, throw it in a 401k, and then just hope for a comfy retirement at 65. It's a plan based entirely on time. The fast lane, on the other hand, is a plan based on control and scale. It's not about getting a job, it's about building a business, a system that you can scale, a system that works for you. The goal isn't retirement in 40 years, it's financial freedom in maybe 5 or 10. You see the fundamental difference? Slowlaners are basically renting out their time. Fastlaners are creating assets that make money completely independent of their time.
And this image, well, it really says it all. This isn't just about what you do with your money, it's about the entire philosophy you choose to live by. Are you on the road where your wealth is handcuffed to the hours you work with a speed limit that's set by your salary? Or are you on the road where your wealth is tied to the value you create with a speed limit that you control? It's an absolutely critical choice.
And right here, this is the engine of the fast lane. This idea changes everything. It's not about how many pennies you can save, it's about how much value you can provide to the world. The law of affection, as DeMarco calls it, is actually pretty simple. Affect millions of people, and you can make millions of dollars. Don't just build a better mousetrap for your town, Create an app or a service that solves the problem for millions. That's the whole idea. Wealth is just a byproduct of creating massive, massive value. So now we've got the slow and steady saver and the high-speed entrepreneur. Two solid playbooks. But what if there's a third level, a strategy the ultra-rich use that operates on a completely different plane of existence?
And this brings us to our third strategy. Now we're entering a whole new realm, a realm where wealth isn't about saving an income or even building a business to generate an income. No, it's about sidestepping the very idea of income altogether.
It's called buy, borrow, die. And yeah, it sounds pretty intense, but it is one of the most powerful, and get this, perfectly legal tax strategies used by the ultra-wealthy. Now, of course, it requires a lot of capital just to get started, but the core idea is this. You never ever sell your appreciating assets, things like stocks or real estate, because selling creates a taxable event. Instead, you just hold on to them as they grow and grow in value, and then you borrow against that value with low interest loans. And here's the kicker. Since loans aren't considered income, you don't pay tax on that money. You literally get to use your wealth tax-free. Let's break it down really simply. First, you buy assets that you believe will grow over time. Second, you borrow against them for cash to live your life. Finally, the die part of the strategy. When the owner passes on, the assets go to their heirs. And here's the absolute key. Legally, the entire tax slate is wiped clean. It's a little thing called a stepped-up basis, which basically means the tax system pretends the heirs bought the asset on the day they inherited it at its current much higher price. All those decades of growth, all those capital gains, poof, they're essentially erased for tax purposes. The heirs can turn around and sell it the next day and pay little to no tax. It's a multi-generational wealth machine.
So we've laid out three completely different games: the patient saver, the explosive entrepreneur, and the elite investor. But when you look at these strategies, especially that last one, you kind of have to ask the bigger question. Are we all even playing on the same field?
This chart, it's from the Congressional Budget Office and was highlighted by economist Paul Krugman, and it shows a trend that is just staggering. Since about 1980, something fundamentally shifted in the economy. While the bottom 80% of American households saw their incomes grow by about 25%, the top 1% saw theirs grow by over 150%, and the top 100th of 1%, over 400% growth. This isn't just about one group doing a little better than another. This is what economists call the Great Divergence. The very wealthy have been pulling away from literally everyone else at an incredible speed.
And look, this divergence isn't just about numbers on a chart, it's about the very rules of the game itself. This quote actually comes from a study on school choice, but the principle applies everywhere. When a system has rules, like needing money for transportation to get your kid to a better school, or needing a ton of capital to even start playing the buy, borrow, die game, it inherently favors those who already have resources. And because race and class are so closely intertwined in our society, policies that might seem totally neutral on the surface can end up reinforcing existing inequalities. The playing field isn't always level. Some players start the game with a massive head start. So, where does all of this leave us? We've looked at three wildly different paths to wealth, and a system that seems to favor some of those paths way more than others. And you know, realizing that the field might be tilted is crucial, because it affects which game you can even afford to play in the first place. This can feel pretty overwhelming, I get it. But it's right here, in all this confusion, that we find the final and most important unspoken rule.
This brings us to a really critical realization. Think about it for a second. The Millionaire Next Door advice, the Fastlane philosophy, the buy, borrow, die strategy, they all sound correct on their own, right? But they also completely contradict each other. It reminded me of this wild study for the McNair Scholars Journal, which found that standard sociology textbooks were just riddled with errors and biases. So what if the financial textbooks were all given? The advice from our parents, from so-called gurus, from society itself, are just as flawed. Or maybe, at the very least, they're just incomplete.
And this right here is the ultimate unspoken rule. There isn't one single secret to getting rich. There are multiple games being played all at the same time. The Slowlane saver is playing a game of discipline and time. The Fastlane entrepreneur is playing a game of value and scale. The elite investor is playing a game of capital and tax law. They aren't just different strategies, they can actually be a sequence. The slow lane can build the foundation, the fast lane can build the fortune, and the end game protects it for generations to come. The biggest mistake we make is thinking there's only one game. The real power comes from understanding the entire map and then consciously choosing your own path.
Because ultimately, that's what this all comes down to. The final unspoken rule isn't some secret strategy hidden in a book. It's the realization that you have a choice. Yeah, the system may have its biases and the paths may be wildly different, but you are the one who has to pick your road, understand its rules, and start driving. So the real question isn't just, how do I get rich? The question is, which game are you built for? Which one will you choose to play? And the final unspoken rule of this channel? You can't leave without leaving a mark. Hitting that like button is your signal that you're in the game. Drop a comment with the rule that shocked you the most. Ring the bell so you never miss a secret. And subscribe, because knowing the rules is the very first step to rewriting them.